November 10, 1989. For the first time in almost 30 years, Berliners from the East were free to cross the Berlin Wall to meet their fellow Germans in the West. In October, a series of anti-government demonstrations began in East Germany. The protests were in response to the recent visit by Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev. Gorbachev had given the Russians new freedoms. The protesters demanded to know why East Germany had not shared in these reforms. The East German government tried to stop the protest, but they continued. The pressure on the government forced longtime President Erich Honecker to resign. The newly installed communist head of state, Egon Krenz, went immediately to Moscow to meet with Gorbachev, hoping to gain Soviet support. No support was given. Gorbachev believed this was a matter for the East Germans to sort out. The reform movement continued to gain momentum. Protests became a regular occurrence in most large East German cities. 500,000 marched in Leipzig and over 1 million in Berlin. The people were speaking en masse. The government had two options in dealing with the political protest. They could crack down militarily or concede to the demands. In an unbelievable move, the entire Politburo resigned. The people had won. The communist president still led the government, but with each day, the people were assuming more control of the country's direction. Even the president caved in to the political pressure, and on November 9th, he opened the border crossing points between East and West Berlin. He thought his concession would save East Germany, but instead, he hastened its demise. Within hours of the announcement, people started turning up at border checkpoints. At first, border guards demanding proper visas turned away everyone, but the people had learned how persuasive a crowd can be. They continued to push the guards until checkpoint Charlie was opened. The East Berliners were welcomed by their Western neighbors. At Berlin's Brandenburg Gate, guards still kept watch over the wall. When the first West Berliners tried to breach it, the guards tried to drive them back with fire hoses. But finally, the people won again. In their excitement, hundreds climbed onto the wall. Reporter Brian Hanrahan was a witness to the celebration.
Standing on top of the Berlin Wall, which for years has been the most potent symbol of the division of Europe. And there can be few better illustrations of the changes which are sweeping across this continent than the party which is taking place here on top of it tonight.
I want to be an astronaut.
But this will need to be more than a piece of November madness to wipe out the bitter memories of the past. And with nobody to stop them, it wasn't long before the first attempts were made to destroy the structure itself. Everybody was testing how far they could stretch their new freedoms.
In December, East Germany began to dismantle the wall itself. The giant concrete structure that had been the symbol of communist domination and East-West division came down. The wall's destruction would become a new symbol for the rebirth of the freedom that would shortly sweep throughout Eastern Europe and the Soviet Union.